Thanks for joining us, Mums at the Table. It's your girl Fiona, back here to talk all things good and not so good in motherhood with some fabulous ladies. The Lady Mel. How are you, Melody?
Good.
Good to see you. We got Mary Ellen.
Hello.
Nice to see you, Mary Ellen.
See you too.
And Rach, I haven't been on set with you for a while.
I know, it's been a while. It's good to be here with you.
Rach with a H. Good to see you. Coming up, how a 10-year-old became an entrepreneur on eBay. And do you welcome visitors over when your house is a mess? Or does the thought of a messy house make you anxious? We'll keep it locked as we have Lynn Jenkins, a clinical psychologist and author, here to talk about anxiety and more. But first, if you thought baking gluten-free, dairy-free, sugarless cupcakes for the school store made you Mother of the Year, think about this. One mother in America has taken to writing encouraging messages on each of her child's pencils with things like, "You're talented, you can do this, you're a math whiz," and so forth. Do you think this is a beautiful gesture, or is it over the top?
When I first read it, I was like, oh, so sweet. And then I thought about it further and went, that is a lot of work.
Not over the top, just a lot of work.
It's not something you would do?
I don't know. Like it just seems to be a lot of demands for mums these days. You know, you get onto social media and it's like, you know, mums making these beautiful lunch boxes, and then they're taking to writing everything on the pencils, and
just another thing we've got to add to the back to school list.
Yeah, and it's like, are we causing parents to chase perfection?
Well, that's I actually had the opposite reaction. At first, I was like, oh my goodness, yet another thing that mums have to be perfect at, whatever. But then I thought about it and I thought, well, maybe her child is really big on words of affirmation. Maybe that's their love language, and maybe that's the way that she communicates with her child. Maybe she doesn't get a chance to do that because she's working late or something. So I think, yeah, obviously don't compare yourself, but if your child has a certain love language that you think you can cater toward in a simple way like that, it's effective.
You don't think it's creating a false sense of security where the child needs to constantly be told, you're great, you are a whiz, you are that, you know, you're great at maths and things like that. You don't
I think
that?
Well, maybe, but I think we tell ourselves so many negative messages that I can't do this, I can't do that, that it's a nice little positive lift, maybe.
I thought it was really lovely, and if you've got the creativity and the energy to do that, that's great. But I think encouragement comes in all sorts of different shapes and sizes, you know. So
How do you encourage your girls?
Well, differently is a one-word answer. So my eldest really appreciates words, and when I talk to her and encourage her and build her up, you can just see her whole face, her whole body beams. Whereas I give words to my second daughter, and you can see she takes it on, but it doesn't make her beam. What makes her beam is actually doing something. So if I get her to step up and take some responsibility or have a go at something that her sisters haven't done, that's when she beams and that's when she shines, and that's how she feels her encouragement. Whereas my youngest, I think she was just born with a lot of internal confidence.
Yeah, and that goes back
she doesn't need it.
It's important, I think, for kids to build their own self-esteem and their own self-confidence without having to be constantly praised and told.
No, I have to disagree with that, because I think our belonging is based on what people we value think of us. And I think that's a really important thing to be intentional about. So, yeah.
Well, what happens when that praise stops? What happens when you don't get that encouragement anymore?
But you always get it from your mum, right? And that's the most. That's where you get the basis and the root and foundation. So I agree with what you guys are saying in terms of love languages, and I think the most important take-home message that I've gotten from this is what Mary Ellen just said, is don't compare yourself.
How are you? Were you encouraged by your mum? Obviously, you said that your mum always encouraged you.
I think I'm the bee's knees, really. I mean, come on.
But there's other ways of encouraging our children.
I was going to say, encouragement doesn't have to be false words. You don't have to say to someone you're great at maths when they're not. Like, encouragement still comes in nice critiques as well.
Yeah. I think one way I was encouraged as a child was learning Bible verses. And I know one of my brother's favourite Bible verses was, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that's something that you learn from a young age and take to when you're older.
But the whole idea of encouragement, like I looked it up this week, it is throughout the Bible. It's in Philippians, Ephesians, Galatians, it's everywhere. Like, it's almost like this beautiful mandate to sort of build each other up.
But just like the pencils are more than just words. You need to sit down with your child and tell them, you know, you can do this. Like, you know, instill those lessons. Same with the Bible. If it's just a Bible verse, it's not really,
so true.
Yeah.
As the good word says, train up a child the way he should go, that when they are old, they will not depart from it. A Bible verse, I think, that seems fitting for no matter what the context. But next, it seems there is no age limit for getting your hustle on. In EssentialKids.com, a 10-year-old has become an eBay entrepreneur, making money from reselling her old toys, crafts, and even toy collectibles. And she does it all, from taking photos, researching, listing items for sale, packaging, and posting them off to the buyers. something that you did as a child. You
I
were a
did.
kidpreneur.
Yeah, I have ultimate respect for this girl. I relate. When I was younger, during the council clean-up, when everyone chucks all their rubbish on the side of the road for the truck to come and take it, I used to look at all the furniture that was still in good nick, and I would get my dad to drive it to our house, and then I would paint it, and I would kind of shabby chic it, sand it back, and then sell it for quite a good amount
Sorry,
of money.
how old were you?
Yeah.
Probably I started when I was about 10 years old and
Yeah, right.
10 to 14 years
That's
old.
impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty
Get
fun.
that idea, like.
My mum was a big eBay, like she used to buy a lot of things on eBay, and she said, wow, these are going for so much money. You could just get an item off the side of the road. And I was like, oh, I'm pretty creative. I could do that. And so it kind of was that encouragement to, you know, take that first step.
So was it for the money that you did it, or?
It was more of a creative outlet for me. I mean, the money helped. It
You're
kept me
very
going.
artistic. I might say Mary Ellen is very,
Yes.
very artistic. You've got to check out some of her artwork. Melody, however, you had your side hustle in the playground.
Yeah, mine was purely for money.
Purely for money. What was your motivation getting into business at a young age?
What did you do in the school ground?
Oh, it was really nonsense stuff, actually. Like, you know how as school goes, you would draw, like, you would do those paste on drawing clothes on kids, on dolls and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like pin on clothes, like draw.
Yeah.
I would draw those dresses and actually sell the paper drawing.
Wow.
And
Friends.
they'd buy them?
And they'd buy
That's
them?
awesome.
Did I don't know why.
Do a little markup, like increase the price a little bit, make a bit of profit on the side.
It didn't cost me anything. I just had a bit of pencil, a bit of paper, draw it up, cut it up.
It's
Good
amazing
on you.
what kids would buy at school, though. I remember that.
Should you
kind of thing.
encourage children to get into business and make money at a young age?
I think
what
if
happened
they-
to
if they have-
enjoying life and
But that is that
hanging
the
out
way
with your
they're
friends?
enjoying life. Like if they have a natural bent that way, why not sort of foster that? Like one of my daughters really wants to do it for money. She just wants money. So she goes, I want to do this, I want to do that. And we start to work through it and she realises how much work's involved and then she backs off. So yeah, you've got to work with your kids where they're at. But if they have a natural tendency to go there, why not? What's the problem?
What I'm worried about is this generating this love for money because, you know, I did it, well, I'll be honest, I did it for greed, for the love of money.
Yeah.
And right now, like, you know, it's something that I've had to work with, like the whole love of money thing. And so I'm just wondering if you encourage kids, do you encourage this love of money over everything else?
Yeah.
Depends what you're encouraging them in. Like if you're doing it just for the money, well, yeah, there's going to be some repercussions later on down the track. But if you're sort of fostering something that they love and going, do you know what, you can work with this. Let's work through a business plan together. There's so much more to learn.
Do you think the parent, though, was pushing this child to do it? Like, she seems so advanced in terms of her marketing and, you know, shouldn't we be pushing our kids to create memories and make friends rather than make money?
And go out and play, yeah. I don't
And go out and play?
Yeah, well, she's getting a bonus, I guess. So.
Yeah, well, making money, I guess. Well, as the saying goes, more money, more problems. But now, do you remember those commercials in the 90s for I Can't Believe It's Not Butter, featuring actor model Fabio? That was a terrible interpretation. But anyway, well, neither can I. But Gia and Olive are making something even better, and I can't believe it's not butter. Check this out.
My name is Susan and we are thinking not butter.
Good work, that's it. High five or low five. Okay, so we are making not butter. We are making homemade butter, which is cholesterol-free. It's a really simple recipe, and you can put it in your fridge and it'll last at least 5 to 7 days in your fridge. And all it calls for is half a cup of polenta, and I've cooked it. So this is how much half a cup of dried polenta made. I'm just gonna put it in here. It'll break up once I put everything else in it.
Mama, look.
2 tablespoons of cashew nuts. This is what's gonna make it creamy, like taste creamy. In a second, and half a teaspoon of salt. This is just the base. Sometimes I put other things in this, so like garlic and herbs to make a garlic butter. I might just add a little bit of water just to get it to blend through. Okay, you ready? Okay, can you turn it on for me? There we go. Now can you turn it up? Okay, and we are done. We've got ourselves polenta butter. Butter, do you want to try?
I want to lick.
You want to lick? Oh, bless you. Once this is in the fridge, not butter, huh? Is it tasty? Oh, we can use this. So this is our not butter. This is the consistency of it. If you put it in a container with the lid on it in the fridge, it will firm up and it'll spread like butter.
I don't want this.
How about you guys put some on this nut bread that I made? Look how that spreads just like butter.
Can I have some?
But if you make toast and you put that on top, delicious. Do you want to try?
I don't want.
No, you don't want to try?
That.
Okay, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Now, to help you live your best life, we are giving away copies of this Health and Happiness Cookbook. To get your copy, email us with your name, postal address, and just say you want the Health and Happiness giveaway, and we'll post it out for free. The deets are on the screen, hello@mumsathetable.com. But from not butter to not allowed over, mothers around the globe can sip some tea over this next one featured in our very own Mums at the Table magazine, where one mum thanked another mum for allowing her to visit while her house was a mess. She thanked her friend for letting her into her real life and said if she could get over her own pride of presenting a less than perfect front, she would promise to do the same. Melody, do you have people over when your house is less than presentable?
Yes, I do, but I don't feel comfortable about it.
Why? Why don't you feel comfortable about it? Is it got to do with the pride?
I think so. I think I just don't want people thinking I'm a grot.
Right. Rach, have you been over to someone's house and it's like not presentable? What's your thoughts? Do you think you're a grot when someone goes
No,
over?
I think when you're in that situation yourself, you go over and you know if they've had a bad week or whatever, like you can identify with that. So, and yes, I've had people over and no, I don't feel comfortable because I'm probably on a different scale. I want them to find a seat in my house. So I have to get everything off. But it's been such a journey because it's such an uncomfortable place to be when they come in and there's stuff everywhere, you haven't dealt with it, kids collect stuff, all that stuff grows and breeds, all that, toys, they seem to grow. And it's just a matter of pride, isn't it?
Is it?
Yes, it is.
For me, it's not about pride. For me, it's about my mental health. Being a stay-at-home mum and being with the children, it's chaotic. So the only thing I could control was clean floors, right? So I'm out with my mop like every 2 hours or whatever the case is. Maybe not every 2 hours, but you know what I mean. It's kind of a mental thing. And I think that's happened over the years.
So do you have people over then?
Yeah.
When your house is a mess?
This is how it is.
Because tell me it's a mess sometimes.
Oh, for sure it's a mess. I've got 4 under 4. But the thing is, when I hear the door knock and I've just finished mopping the floors, I get anxiety. I'm like, are you serious? Right now, do I have to have... So I want a clean house and just to stay pretty. I don't want it to be spoiled or anything. And my dad says you live in a museum sometimes. So, but yeah, we're working on it. We're working. What about you, Miriam?
Oh, man, this just brings me so much grief. Look, I still live at home. And I'm a clean, I like being clean. My room is usually very tidy. But my family, I'm an anomaly. My family doesn't care about, people come over and like, oh yeah, stuff's all over the floor. No worries. But for me, I'm around there with, the broom sweeping up stuff because people need to walk on our floors and not, like slip over.
But do you like that it hasn't stopped people coming over? Do you like that your mum feels comfortable with who she is and all,
I definitely respect it, and I think it's a good thing, and I wish I was more that way. I just can't do it. It's a mental health thing for me as well.
Yeah,
I think.
It's a mental health issue.
Yeah.
What about, is it the way that we grew up with parents? Like my mum was a clean freak and she did everything all the time, so always on the go. And I think I've adapted to that. Melody, what do you think about that?
Firstly, I need to say sorry, Mum. I love you. My mum really likes cleaning, and to be honest, it actually... I love you, Mum. It gave me a little bit of a complex. Well, not turned off. Like, I'm a clean freak now, but whenever someone brings out the vacuum cleaner or whenever someone starts cleaning, I get really scared.
Are you serious? So if you've gone over to a friend's house and it's messy, do you help to, clean up or help them with cooking?
I would help to clean up if they say they need help, because I don't want to. I don't want to offer, because
you don't want to make them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
they might actually be okay with it.
If they didn't ask for it and I start cleaning up, am I just telling them that, oh, I think you're a messy person, I need to clean up for you?
See, I have people over and I will just sort of clean up really comfortably around them. It does depend on who it is. And they'll just sort of sit there and offer, and I'm like, no, I'm fine. Like you said, we'll chat. Here's your cuppa, and I'll do a few cleaning things around them. You get to the point where you're like, this is my life. I either choose to live in it and be present and deal with it, or I get in and clean it. And we're just living in the grot.
Do you think hospitality is more important than keeping a clean house?
Yeah, but if you feel uncomfortable, then you're not going to be a very good host, are you? So
So take them out. Take the guests out, maybe. Meet them at the restaurant.
Yeah, often
Come
meet
back
at
in
the
10
park.
Don't come over. What is it? Depends.
I think
on
there
who
are
it is.
different stages where it's easier and not easier. And, you know, I've spoken to a lot of mums who get a cleaner in now. I've been over to a lot of homes who are just messy. And I've been to homes where it's just immaculate and I'm uncomfortable because I'm like, I could never live up to this standard. Can we be friends?
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, getting a cleaner, that's right up my alley. I love that. But as parents, it's clear that we all need to share the load and perhaps lower our expectations that have been created by society. Speaking of lowering, here's a clip on lowering your cholesterol.
Hi, and welcome to another day with Trish. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say today. Welcome.
Gia, thank you.
And we are going to talk about cholesterol today. I'm excited because can you lower cholesterol with food? I'm really wanting to understand it all.
You can definitely lower your cholesterol with making a few changes to what you regularly eat. So certain foods we know really significantly raise our cholesterol, so foods high in saturated fat like meat and butter and coconut, as well as a lot of the cakes and biscuits that you
yes,
buy.
All the yummy stuff.
Yeah, but there are some really effective foods that actively lower cholesterol as well, and they're pretty well some really potent plant foods.
And we're going to need to know that because I think for the viewers and for myself, we need to know what sort of foods do lower cholesterol and what we should eat more of.
Yeah. Well, some researchers in Canada a number of years ago now developed what they called the portfolio diet, and that combines 4 plant foods that are well known for having significant cholesterol lowering effects.
Okay.
So the portfolio diet, they actually showed could lower your cholesterol by up to 30% or so, which is pretty much the same as what you get from cholesterol lowering medications.
And in how long?
Not long. You can get some significant reductions in your cholesterol in 3 or 4 weeks by making
Our bodies are amazing.
I know, I know. So the key foods that form the portfolio diet are foods rich in soy protein.
Yes,
or protein from soybeans. So soy milk, tofu, edamame are really important cholesterol-lowering foods. Other foods are foods rich in a certain fibre called soluble fibre, and that's found in oats and barley and some vegetables like eggplant, oat bran and psyllium husks as well. The third food in the portfolio diet was nuts, particularly almonds, and around about 30 grams of nuts a day.
A day?
Yeah.
Which is 2 tablespoons?
Yeah, just a little handful on most days of the week can really effectively lower your cholesterol. And the final food in the portfolio diet was plant sterol enriched foods. So plant sterol is a natural compound found in a lot of different plant foods, but what researchers have done is they've taken it out of some of these foods and added it back into some healthy foods at higher levels, and they're really effective. So you can buy plant sterols. Most of us have probably heard about some of those cholesterol-lowering margarines, but you can also buy cholesterol-lowering milks, as well as...
and the Weet-Bix I see here.
Weet-Bix cholesterol-lowering has your full daily 2 grams of plant sterols in just a 2-biscuit serve. So you can get around 9% reduction in your cholesterol just by switching to Weet-Bix cholesterol lowering.
That's great. So what other things can we do to have a healthy heart?
Yeah, well, lowering your cholesterol is really important, but there are other aspects of heart health we need to be mindful of. We need to think about our blood pressure as well, as well as inflammation, and as well as just looking after our heart generally. So having a healthy lifestyle overall is really important. So eating enough fruits and veggies.
Yes, I see all that beautiful
Yeah, all those
colours.
colourful,
Yes, those colours
flavourful fruits and veggies and whole grains are also really important to eat every day, as well as getting out and getting some sunshine and exercise, not smoking, you know, things we all know are all really important to keep our heart and our whole bodies healthy.
Thank you so much for coming today.
Pleasure.
And we look forward to seeing you next time with some more information. We'll see you next time too.
It's estimated that 45% of people will experience a mental health condition in their lifetime. In any one year, more than 2 million people in Australia alone have anxiety, which is why joining us now to talk about anxiety in children is clinical psychologist and author Lynn Jenkins. Thanks for being here, Lynn.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Now, I'm holding this book up, Lessons of a Lack, which is a book that you've written.
Yes, it is.
Can you tell us about it?
Well, it's for children.
LAC is an acronym for Little Anxious Creature, and that's how I've always thought about anxiety with children, working with children. So Loppy is a LAC, a little anxious creature, only knows how to look out for danger and what can go wrong, so that's anxiety chatter externalised. And then Curly Calmster is the management, which is the management side.
Wait, can I go back a second? So you said something internal, something external. What was that?
Well, externalised, that's a good strategy to work with children. So instead of saying, what are you thinking, it's what's Loppy thinking?
Okay.
You know, what's Loppy saying to you? So basically, though, it's the anxiety chatter.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, Loppy's anxiety chatter and Curly Calmster, the other character in the book, is the management of it.
So you talk about anxiety chatter. What is anxiety in young children?
Well, it's very much a thinky component and
Are they
a
hearing
physiological.
voices?
No, their own thoughts, but it's their thoughts that are quite flavoured with worry and danger.
What are these thoughts? What do you find that children are anxious about?
Oh, well, common things are separation, dark, bedtime, spiders, storms. Yeah, a lot of it's
things
separation.
that develop over time, or are they born with it? Is it genetic?
Well, a bit of everything, yeah. Children have a predisposition to anxiety, so if it's in the genes, it could be in the genes. And then it's really how it's handled, so it's the experiences as well, genes and experience.
So anxiety is treatable.
Of course,
Yeah. What do parents need to know? Like, what does science look out for in order to know if you need treatment for it?
Well, I always think it's good to know what anxiety is, so the actual physiology of it, which is the protective system in the body, the fight or flight response. So once you know what that is, and what then you know what to look out for.
The fight or flight response, like the child's.
Yeah, so basically just say
mode all the time.
Yeah, or we've got fighters or fleers, and there's freezing and fainting now too. But fighters and fleers, that's how the body protects ourselves. So the body, when the body senses some sort of danger, the body sends out all these neurochemicals and it prepares the body to protect itself by either fighting that danger or running away from it. So understanding, that's the physiology that we see anxiety. You know, that's the sore tummies, and that's the racy heads, and that's the shakiness or the sweating or the wanting to avoid, you know, because our body, they're scared. Yeah, so understanding the temperament, you know, are my children a more fleer or a fighter? So fleers are more the more stereotypical sort of, you know, withdrawn, where fighters often get misinterpreted. You know, they might come out in behaviours. They might be the externalisers, but they're fighting.
I think I've got one of those.
You've got, yeah, I think I do too.
It's all external.
Yes, indeed, yeah. So understanding that is really, really important, I find, yeah.
How much of a mother's, you know, anxiety isn't just in children. A lot of adults are anxious as well. And for anxious mother, how much of it influences their kid, and how can you stop it?
Well, awareness. Yeah, we're all smiling. I think we're all going to that's right. No, it's being aware of our own stuff, basically. Yeah, and that's why I love mindfulness. But that teaches us to pause. You know, to be aware and to pause, because essentially, you know, they are little sponges. So it's being aware of having a little compass, like a value set's really good too. So okay, I'm aware that I'm anxious. I try not to pass this on too much to my children, and of course we will to a point, and that has to be okay, but just having that in our mindset and modelling is a big thing in it, yeah. So just being aware.
So being aware and just stopping, realising that we need to stop whatever we're doing so our child doesn't pick up on those vibes.
Yeah, and also if we do get anxious, modelling what to do about it.
And what do you do?
That's what I was going to say, because, you know, I've got a child who does get anxious and we talk about it, but that the talking doesn't seem to sort of do a whole heap.
And it depends where it's up to, you know, and this is where understanding the brain behind it as well, because if our brain, just say this is like our brain stem, this is our brain middle where our emotions are, and this is our smart brain here. So these two connections, that's our survival brain, this one's our thriving brain. So when we're talking, we need this thriving brain, front brain here, to be online. But when we're highly emotional, it goes offline.
So it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, they can't. When we're really highly emotional, it goes offline. It's an inverse, like a seesaw. When one's on, the other's down. When the other's down.
So it's about when you talk to your kid about the anxiety.
So when we're highly anxious,
Don't talk to them.
Don't talk. Calm down. Or any of us, we need to calm. Our brain needs to calm down to be able to have those abilities to listen, to reason, to think, to learn.
So what's some practical tips that people can use if their child suffers from anxiety?
Well, I always talk about ABC, keep it simple. So A is that awareness of what's going on. So that's where all the education comes into it, what's going on in the body. B, just a simple but breathing. You know, we teach our children to breathe, to calm down, and also add in a little bit of mindful breathing. So notice the breathing or add numbers to it. And C has got to do with, well, when we're talking about loppy and curly, it's curly thoughts or calm thoughts. So that's the sort of, that gets to do with the chatter. It's okay, I can do this, let's just breathe for now, just something to calm down first and then go from there.
You mentioned separation anxiety and you mentioned fear of the dark. People often say things like, you know, technology is making kids anxious and things like that. What do you think some of the causes are? Do you think that's true?
Look, I do get asked this question a lot, and I always think about, I think children are more exposed to a lot more these days than I know I was. You know, it's just, and even not intentionally, but it could be on the TV walking past, or other children are allowed to watch it and then they get talked to it, and then, you know, and I suppose, you know, kids can listen to that or see that and not react, but kids that with a bit more of a predisposition to anxiety, you know, it might be enough just to trigger them off a little bit.
What about social media? Does that affect the
certain
anxiety
ages?
with kids at
I
certain
think
ages?
definitely, again, with the type of children they are, the temperament, if they've got a predisposition to it, if something happens in social media or something happens to them or one of their friends, you know, it can certainly trigger something. So
what's the youngest age you've seen anxiety show in children?
I probably work with kids from about four or five.
Wow.
And it's not anxiety as such, but a little tendency to worry.
So what's the symptoms that tell a parent, you better check your child out because they might have anxiety or whatever the case is? What should we be looking for?
Well, if they're avoiding things, so it's seen more as they get to do more things. So school, for example, they start avoiding school. They start crying because when
they just cry for
they're crying
reason?
more for some reason because when anxiety is switched on, when those sort of big emotions are switched on, all the emotions get switched on. If it's anything that is a little bit out of character, especially though the stereotypical things are if they start to withdraw, if they start to cling, if they start to avoid. They start to, if they are using the words, oh, what if this happens? What's so obviously worrying, or they're fixated on something. There are different types of anxiety disorders as well. You know, so there's
different levels. Now, how can this book help children that are suffering with anxiety?
Well, it's learning that we've got anxiety chatter. And we've also got an alternative, which is curly calmster. So we're learning, they're learning that there is an anxious component, a thinky sort of component to anxiety, and there's also some lessons about what to do, basic ones. And
who should people go to? Where should you seek help if your child suffers from anxiety?
Well, first step in my world, anyway, is a GP to get a referral to a psychologist. That's
just take
how
the
we
step.
operate. Take the step. The school might help as well.
They might notice.
They might notice, especially school-aged children, preschool or school. And then, and
you can get your book online?
Yes, of course, Or our website's lessonsofalact.com.
Excellent. All right. Thank you, Lynn, for your time and for the great tips on anxiety with children. I'm sure that it will help a lot of viewers. But look, the book is Lessons of a Lack, which is little anxious creature. Ladies, thank you for the chat, and thank you at home for tuning in. Don't forget to share, like and subscribe if you're watching us online, and let us know if there's a topic you want to hear about, because there's always room for more mums at the table. Until next time, God bless.